Okay. Okay. Joe Winko. It's so good to talk to you, my friend. How you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I've been watching you for a few years. I'm not a total OG fan of yours because I know you've been on for what, 10 years now or so?
Quite a bit longer than that. My YouTube channel isn't the first channel that I created. I had been posting stuff on YouTube since I was in elementary school, but I couldn't decide what the username should be, so I kept
Hmm.
deleting the channels over and over again till I eventually came up with Winko567 and had that one ever since.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I know you had a couple of channels. I know you have the gaming channel, and then you had the Walking Dead Joe Winko channel. Um, are you ever gonna post on the Walking Dead one again? I liked those videos a lot.
Good question. I kind of gave up on them because they were a lot of work and I always tried
Hmm.
to get those out right away. And also because eventually I got bored of The Walking Dead and I stopped following it after a while.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I'm not sure if I'm ever going to post on the Walking Dead channel again, but still have all the old videos up. But yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, Walking Dead. It kind of turned in. Do you think it kind of turned into a soap opera? Because that's kind of what it felt like for me after a while.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely always been a soap opera. That's always how I saw it.
Well, so just to get started, I guess with the questions I had for you, why don't you give me, whatever you want to share about your early life? What made Joe Winko Joe Winko?
um well, to s- like hmm, just not sure where to start, but the bandana, like a lot of people ask me about the bandana if it signifies anything, but it really doesn't really. I mean, I just always wore my bandana like that since I was a little kid,
Hmm.
and I thought that was the way people wore their bandanas, but then as I grew up, I noticed that no one wears their bandana like that except me. So then I just kept wearing it that way because it became my trademark. So yeah.
How do you keep it up? Is there like a paper cone in it or something?
Yeah, there actually is. Yeah,
Oh, I'm
nowadays.
right.
Uh-huh. Nowadays there actually is. Like before then, I used to use like pens to keep it up, and you can even see in my older episodes of Joe Winko Talk, it doesn't stick up nearly as perfectly as it does now.
Hmm.
And I also used to use like paper to keep it up and everything, or I used to use index cards. I even use starch spray on it a lot, but nowadays I just use the party hat, cone shaped party hat, and have it attached to a headband, and that's how I keep it up.
Starch spray is crazy. That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
So uh, so you were adopted, correct?
Yeah.
I got you. Were you adopted by family members? Do I remember that right?
Oh, they aren't related to me at all. They're my adoptive family.
Okay, okay, I got you. Yeah, for some reason I wanted to say it was uncle or something, but okay, that makes sense. Um, do you wanna tell people what happened with your original family, or do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, I can. Well, my biological mother, both of my biological parents are deceased, and I didn't feel sorry for either of them. My biological mother died of drug complications a couple weeks after I was born. She died in prison. And my biological father also died in prison. He was killed by inmates.
Okay, I got you. Um, well, I mean, do you think when did you end up getting adopted? How old were you?
I was a couple months old.
Couple months. Okay, I got you. So you've pretty much known them your whole life. And you said, I read somewhere, I think on your Wikitubia page, which did you write that yourself?
Yeah, I literally wrote like almost everything there by myself. There's only like one article that someone else wrote, and it's not even about anything having to do with me, the one article there that someone else wrote, but I wrote all the stuff on the Wikipedia site by myself.
Yeah, it's very detailed, that's for sure. I figured so. You lived in the Dominican for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
What? How'd you like that? Why were you down there?
I was living there with my biological uncle. It was because like back when I was a kid, like some really bad stuff happened and I wasn't doing well in Wisconsin, so
Hmm.
my adoptive parents ended up getting in touch with one of my my last biological family member who was alive, which was my biological uncle, and they sent me to the Dominican Republic to go live with them.
How was that? Did you enjoy it? Did you have a good relationship with your uncle?
Oh yeah, he was a very nice man. Really, if it wasn't for him, I would have not turned out well at all.
That's good to hear. And is he still alive?
He passed away in 2012 from cancer,
Oh, sorry to hear that.
from brain cancer. He went into a coma in 2010, but he didn't pass away till 2012.
Oh, that's tough. Cool. So, what was young Joe Winko's favorite thing to do growing up? What were your hobbies growing up?
Well, I definitely loved watching cartoons on TV, and I loved playing The Sims back when I was a kid. And yeah, I also loved playing with action figures back when I was a kid. That was definitely something that I was into because I always loved the slasher movies. I would
Hmm.
make one of them the killers and have them kill the rest of the action figures and have one of them be the lone survivor at the end who
So
beats the
those were like
killer.
the original Sims movies, were your action
Yeah.
figures.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome. Yeah, I grew up the same way. I loved slasher movies, Silence of the Lambs. Like, really, just when I was a kid, the most fucked up movies I could find is what I liked. um,
Yeah.
uh, so, um, so obviously you're gay. Do you? I know that you, you're looking for an obsessive man, correct?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I got you.
definitely.
I got you. What is it that makes you want somebody that like so obsessive like that? Because some people might think that's strange. I don't necessarily think that's strange, but what do you think?
Well, I mean, the thing with that is that like guys always ghost me all the time, and they always like forget about me very easily. Like it doesn't like from what I find, like guys like always like ghost me all the time and always forget about me easily. No one really ever sticks around at all, and it's just really sad how you can meet one guy. He seems to like, well, how I meet like one guy. He seems to like me a lot, but then in the blink of an eye, he pulls a full 360 and just like stops talking to me and ghosts me. And like it when it happens so many times. You can even Google search the guys who ghosted Joe Winko. I posted
Oh,
all of
really?
them. Yeah, really.
I
I
think I've seen that. Like you've had that up for like 2 years ish, or maybe I'm wrong. I feel like I saw
oh
it a while back.
it was well yeah, I probably did have it up 2 years ago, but like the one I was thinking of, I posted that like a few weeks ago. And like because I the reason why is because I was on Grinder a couple weeks ago, and one man, like I was like, when something unfair happens or when I'm upset about something, I always let people know right away. I don't hold back. I mean, for the most part, I don't hold back. I mean, there's some instances where I do, but this I was talking to this one guy on Grinder, and I was telling him that all the guys I talk to are really stuck up. They keep ghosting me and they act like they like me and then they ditch me. And then he tells me, "Well, maybe you should lower your standards among men. Then you probably won't be ghosted by so many guys. You shouldn't be talking to the good-looking guys or the I mean, basically like what he was trying to say was that I guess he thinks that I only talk to like really good looking guys or something. And like I honestly do not care what a guy looks like. I mean, he could look like one of the villains from the Wrong Turn movies, as most of the guys who ghosted me actually do. I mean, it's what's on the inside that counts, but the problem with all the guys that ghosted me, they're all not only are they ugly on the outside, but they're also ugly on the inside as well. But I mean, to be completely honest, I'm actually a freak who likes ugly guys, so yeah, so yeah.
So obviously, like, you've done a lot of hitchhiking across the country. How do you meet these people that drive you all around to visit graves and visit different sites that you go to?
Well, it's luck of the draw, really. I mean, like, I talk to tons of people online, and I always like throw myself out there. I'm on like so many different sites, and I have like some of them contact me through YouTube, and like, oh, Joe, you went on a road trip with this stranger. I want to take you on a road trip too, and then we get together and we go on a drive. Other times, like they will see like my post on the rideshare section of Craigslist
Hmm.
when they don't get flagged on the rideshare section of Craigslist. That's another annoying thing that happens. I also post a lot on Reddit. I mean, my accounts always get banned on Reddit all the time because I always run into tons of haters on Reddit. But yeah, like I post like all over the internet, like looking for someone, and if you post in enough places, you're eventually going to find it too. And I also think that there's something supernatural behind it because I also have my adventure rune stone. I did a video about that
Hmm.
where you like someone in a witchcraft group told me to do this to summon someone to take me on a road trip, and it has worked quite a bit. I mean, like not quite as much as I hoped for it. Well, like recently it hasn't really been working so well, but I feel like it's going to. But basically they said you draw a stone, you get a stone, and on one side of the stone you draw the rune symbol for protection and the rune symbol for safe travel and safe adventure. On the other side of the stone you draw a face, and then you carry it around with you everywhere, and you every now and then you look at the face and you tell it all the places you want to go to, and once you make it to those places you're supposed to leave the stone there, and then the whole cycle starts all over again and you create a new one when you want to go somewhere else.
That's interesting. I'm going to ask you questions about magic and stuff in a moment.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely.
do you think that so obviously some people might say that it's dangerous to like hitchhike with people. I'm sure you've heard that a million times.
Oh god,
um
yeah.
yeah, what do you think? There's like some kind of excitement behind the possible like danger of it that like gets you going?
Not really. It's not really the excitement. I mean, like when you, it's not. I mean, it's not even like hitchhiking
Yeah,
really to be. I mean, like yeah, that is a term you can definitely use, but it's different from the hitchhiking that comes to most people's minds. Like it's not like I ever stand
yeah,
out.
I misspoke. I don't mean you're out there with your thumb out or
Oh
anything like
yeah.
that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but the thing is like I never feel like I'm in danger. I mean, I have had times where I was in the car with someone and they get like for some reason they get in a really bad mood and they're like really bitchy and they're really angry and everything, and then I'm just like, okay, all right, and I'm just it's never fun when that happens, but like I
Yeah,
never feel like scared at all or anything.
I
Cuz
gotcha.
yeah, like cuz one thing that I always think is that it's virtually impossible to get away with murder in year 2023, 2024. I mean, they have so much technology. I watch so many crime investigation shows. And also another thing is that like I talk to these people. I do vet them actually. I do make sure that they're not some crazy person. I do talk
Hmm.
to them online for a while before I go to meet them and everything, and there's like so much evidence of us being in communication with each other. If something
Sure.
happens to me, they trace it back to them. And on top of that, I mean, even if you just go and it, look at all the guys who ghosted me, I mean, um like you just look at them, look at the size and age of those men that I'm standing next to, and look at the size and age of me and ask
Yeah.
yourself, "Oh, which guy would win a fight?" I mean, some of them do look well, actually, not even some of them. Like only one of them looks stronger than I do, but the rest of them are like really old and out of shape and everything. That's how most guys who take me on drives kind of
It's
look like.
weird how
No
that's
offense if
the
they're
that's the
listening to this, but
demographic.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird how that's a specific demographic of I mean, it kind of makes sense in my brains for some reason. But
Yeah,
with
but
the go ahead, go ahead.
oh yeah, another thing I was just gonna throw in. Another thing is that a lot of the guys who take me on long drives are they're usually a lot older than I am, like in their 40s or 50s or 60s or probably even older than that. Um, usually if a guy usually if a guy is crazy enough to kill someone, and this is from what I know with all the crime documentaries I watch, usually like the type of guy who would like pick up someone and murder someone, they usually don't just target one guy and snap out of nowhere. Like for example, John Wayne Gacy or Jeffrey Dahmer, it's not like they were in their 40s and 50s and then all of a sudden snapped out of nowhere and
Sure.
decided to kill someone. They've been doing that for a long time since they were very young, like in their 20s and 30s. And I always think that, like, I feel safer with older guys. The reason why is because I think that if they were a psycho serial killer or something like that, they would have been busted by now because, well, first of all, technology, you can catch serial killers. Like, you can't be a serial killer in 2023, 2024 and get away with it, really, especially if you're targeting someone online. If someone was like stupid enough to do that, really. But yeah, like I have had one close call though, I will say that. I mean, and it's based off of something a psychic told me. This crazy guy who invited me up to Charlotte, North Carolina, and things kind of went downhill really, and I he ended up sending me home early, and a psychic ended up telling me that he really lured me up there because he was planning on murdering me, but
Wow.
because of a bunch of stuff that I did, she says that I did not notice how much danger I was actually in, but she says that a bunch of stuff that I ended up doing ended up saving me really. Like a and yeah, there I did a whole video about that. I
I
didn't
think
post
I've
it.
seen it. I think I know what you're talking. Well, maybe not that one. I feel like I remember a close call video you posted before.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean I had like bad run-ins with people, especially back when I was a kid. I was attacked by some crazy guy I met on MySpace, but the guy who did that was like in his early 20s. Like
Hmm.
I try to stay away from guys who are my age or younger. No offense to guys my age or younger, because you don't know like you don't know if they're gonna you don't know if they're gonna snap, because that's usually the age where if someone's a serial
Yeah.
killer, and that's usually the age where they claim their first victim when they're in their 20s, really. But
How old are you again? You're in your 20s, correct?
I'm 28.
28. Okay.
Yeah, I usually don't tell people that, because like the only reason why is because it's not that I am a tad bit insecure about my age, but the reason why is because like I don't have a car and I'm not allowed to have people over, and like that's the only reason why I don't tell people that, because like everyone automatically thinks, "Oh, you're 28 years old, you should have a car by now. You should be able to have people over. You're so far behind. I don't want to talk to you." And I don't want to meet like a judgmental person like that. And
Well, there's so many
yeah.
people in their 20s right now. They're in the same situation, so it's
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's not uncommon at all, and it's not something to be ashamed of for sure. But with the witchcraft and stuff.
Yeah.
So, when did you get into witchcraft and magic and kind of the supernatural?
Oh yeah, very good question. Now, the witchcraft in particular, like I always been into supernatural stuff like ghosts and everything, but the witchcraft in particular, I got into that in year 2020 when coronavirus was getting really bad, because I was honestly raised Catholic. My adoptive parents, I wouldn't say that they were super religious, but they were more religious than usual, especially my adoptive dad, but he's even toned down on that nowadays. I think he's become more skeptical of that, which I'm glad about, really. I didn't think, cuz like my adoptive parents are like really old. They're like in their 70s. When I was growing up, they were in their
Mine
50s, but
too. My parents did the
yeah.
same thing. I was raised really religious, and then they kind of took their foot off the gas as I got older. I think it's
Oh
pretty
yeah.
common.
Yeah, like it seems like they're much more skeptical about that stuff now. But I was raised Catholic, and like the older I got, the more I do believe in God. I mean, basically all the religions, they all believe in God in a way. Like even the
Hmm.
people who practice witchcraft, they just refer to God as the universe or something like that.
Yeah.
But they all believe in God in some kind of form or something. And like when coronavirus happened, I I mean, I wasn't really I mean, I still do pray to God sometimes because that's what how I was brought up and what I was raised to do. I mean,
Hmm.
less often nowadays. When coronavirus happened, I felt really betrayed, honestly, because like here's this deadly virus that's killing tons of people every single day. And I remember back in when I went to a Catholic school for 7 years too, and like one thing that they would always one thing that they would always say is like when something horrible happens to someone, like someone gets murdered or something like that, and you would ask God, God, why did you let this happen? And they would say, oh, well, God gave us the power to choose. It was because someone's decision. But with coronavirus, and there's probably going to be a lot of people who disagree with me on this because some people think that it was like made in a lab and stuff like that.
Sure.
I honestly think that it was like that it was like naturally made or something like it because that does happen. Same with the Spanish flu, that definitely wasn't made in a lab.
Yeah.
But with coronavirus, no one tried. I mean, if you don't believe the lab theory, no one tried making a virus to kill a whole bunch of people. That's something that happened in nature. But why is God doing that? Making a virus that can spread from person to person and kill people. And I felt really betrayed by that, and because I always thought that I was the way I was raised by my adopted parents, they said that witchcraft would like send you to hell or something. I mean,
Yeah. Same.
that's what they're saying. But then when that started happening, I was like, oh, okay, so this so-called God is sending a virus to kill a whole bunch of people. What the hell is up with that? And then that's when I got like, it caused me to get much more skeptical, really. I mean, I never been like a super religious person as an adult. I barely because I don't go to church at all, really. I mean, the only reason why I want to go to church is, well, I'll save that topic for later. But
I can imagine, Joe Winko. I can imagine.
but yeah, like that's when I started getting into the witchcraft then, but that wasn't the specific reason. That's when I was more inclined to get into the witchcraft. But what caused me to think of the witchcraft was at that time I was living with my adoptive dad's brothers in Pinellas County, Florida. They weren't taking coronavirus seriously at all. They don't have any health conditions. They also didn't want me living there with them. And it's kind of a messy situation because they didn't own the house at all. And I didn't own the house either. So they couldn't kick me out. I couldn't kick them out. It actually belonged to one of my adoptive dad's other brothers who lives up in Wisconsin, and they didn't want me moving down there in 2017. They tried stopping me from moving down there, but my adoptive dad's other brother took care of that. And I remembered that, and that stayed with me, and that stuck with me. Fast forward to 2020, coronavirus is going on. I'm high risk because of my type 1 diabetes. They
Hmm.
don't have any health conditions. They're not taking coronavirus seriously. They're not worried about it like I am. And that's when I started thinking, okay, I need to get rid of them. I mean, like, but I can't kick them out. And just like they can't kick me out, I can't kick them out. And then I started thinking it's going to take something supernatural to make them go away. So that's when I started casting the banishing spells on them. That's what I did first. I would cast the banishing spells on them, like writing their names on pieces of paper, putting them in empty water bottles with water in them, and then putting them in the freezer. It wouldn't surprise me if all those bottles were still in the freezer to this day, because they always would find them and they have no idea what they are.
Where did
And
you learn to do all that? Where did you have like a
online.
grand? Oh, just online. I got you.
Yeah, I read about that online. I would put like hot foot powder in their shoes, and I would do like a
What is
banishing.
hot foot powder?
Basically, how hot foot powder is you put it in someone's shoes and it's supposed to cause the person to leave and leave your life, really. And turns out, conveniently, my bedroom door was right by the front door of the house, and they always would leave their shoes there, and I'd always put the hot foot powder in their shoes. And yeah, and I also I started drawing banishing runes on the walls, and they got mad at me for doing that. So I had to get
Did you
invisible
tell him what it
ink.
was?
I didn't tell them what it was because I didn't want to like stir up
I
tension.
didn't. Yeah, I
I
wouldn't
was
either.
already, yeah, I was already stirring up enough tension, but I got invisible ink markers, and one like my banishing spells were actually working because
Hmm.
every night my adoptive one of my adoptive dad's brothers like left the house for months during coronavirus right when I started casting the spells. The other one was more difficult to get rid of, but every single night he would leave and spend the night with his girlfriend every night, and I wish he would spend every day with his girlfriend. Sometimes he would though, but I kept casting the spells over and over again, and I think the reason why they didn't work so well back then is because I have this like belief that the longer you're practicing witchcraft and the longer you're doing the spells, the better that they get. And it was only my I just got into it then, but like I was casting the spells to banish them, and like every night when my adoptive dad's brother would leave, I'll just say his name is Dane, not his real name, but when Dane would leave and spend the night with his girlfriend, I would come out, and it was a miserable time. I would have my mask on because another thing I read online is that coronavirus particles can stay floating in the air for
Hmm.
up to 3 hours. If he was like infected with coronavirus and breathing outside the hallway of my bedroom and everything, the particles would be there for 3 hours. And I would set my phone, I'd be locked in my room, set my phone for timer for 3 hours, not come out until then. And you would imagine going through that every day.
Yeah,
It was
absolutely.
like scared that you're gonna die of a virus that's gonna like fry out your lungs. But then like I would come out with my mask on and my goggles and face shields with my invisible ink pens, and I drew banishing runes all over the house with my invisible ink pens, and I drew them all over, and they only show up if you shine a special kind of light on them. It wouldn't
Yeah,
surprise
that's
me if you
crafty. That's crafty.
Oh yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if you went back there with and shined the light on them and saw all the runes drawn, like that scene in Orphan when she was drawing all the scary stuff on the walls and they didn't see it till they shined the lights on them.
Yeah, yeah.
But
That
yeah,
movie's crazy. I loved that movie when it came out.
I loved
It
it
was
too.
spooky.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else do I want to ask you? So, did you have a lot of friends growing up? Did you have a
No,
pretty like not a lot of friends growing up? Do you think
absolutely. Huh?
do you think I know obviously you're autistic. Do you think any of your autism contributed to that, or were you naturally just like reserved?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The autism definitely did, and also the way my adoptive parents treated me. I
Hmm.
mean, my adoptive mom tended to be really stuck up and reclusive herself, really. It kind of reminds me, like, if you've seen the movie Carrie, I
Yeah.
mean, Carrie's mom was absolutely nuts. Like, she was just going around preaching religious stuff and wouldn't fit in with anyone, which is why Carrie never fit in with anyone. But like, that's it kinda how my adoptive mom was. Well, she wasn't, like, the preacher type. She was just, like, really stuck up and didn't like talking to people, so
Hmm.
most of the kids who are friends with each other, they're friends with each other because their mothers are friends with each other and
Yeah.
everything, and, that's why I didn't really have any friends at all, and everyone would keep telling me to go out for sports for some reason, but I had absolutely no interest in going out for sports. I mean, none of that seemed fun at all, really, and it got really annoying how people started telling me that. However, I did have tons of friends on MySpace. That's where I became like super popular back when I was a kid.
Hmm.
Yeah, I had like tons of friends on MySpace because my MySpace profile said that I was gay, and this was back in 2004, 2005 when I was like 9 and 10 years old. That's when I had my MySpace, and that was around the time where the movie Mean Girls came out. You
Oh
remember that
yeah, of
movie?
course, of
And
course.
yeah, everyone wanted a gay best friend like the
Yeah.
gothic girl Janice. And that's when all the girls started adding me on MySpace. They wanted me to be their gay best
Yeah,
friend,
I
and
was a
yeah.
theater kid, so all of the girls in theater all wanted a gay best friend, and like it's really weird. It's like, I don't think they actually want to be their friend. They just want like I don't know, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
Like an accessory.
yeah, yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
like an
it's
accessory.
true.
It's really strange, but yeah, I was on MySpace, but I used Xanga the most. You remember Xanga?
I don't remember that one.
It was like MySpace. It was a lot easier to use because I'm an idiot. But all right, let's move on. So obviously you have a huge fascination with true crime. I do too. I've been a true crime person since I was a kid. Like, I love reading about that stuff, love documentaries, love the movies. What do you think got you into that sort of stuff?
Oh, my adoptive mom always used to watch crime documentaries on TV all the time, and I would always overlook it, and I'd always watch it too. That's what got me
Hmm.
into it.
Cool.
Yeah,
And
and
you
yeah,
go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, and then there's this is gonna be like really morbid, personal, and gloomy. But another thing is that like I used to read about kids who would get murdered a lot back when I was a kid. I mean, one reason why is because like I would try to get ideas for my scary Sims 2 movies or my scary stories, but then
Hmm.
eventually I would feel really sorry for the kids and what happened to them and everything. Like like Princess Doe, like that one really got to me. I read about her online when I was like because I was using the internet like ever since I was a little kid. I read about her online when I was like 7 or 8 years old, and this girl who was beaten to death and found at a cemetery, and no one knows who she is at all. And I remember that
Yeah, in New
really,
Jersey, right?
yeah, in New Jersey. And I remember that really freaked me out how someone could be dead and no one knows who they are at all. And I was like, oh my God, how is that possible? No one knows who she is, and she's just laying there and she's just dead, and they call her Princess Doe. And yeah, I thought that was extremely disturbing back then. I still think it's disturbing now, and it was just really sad because I was like 7 or 8 when I read about that. I went to her grave when I was 26, and I never forgot about her. The moment someone mentions New Jersey, the first thing I think of is that drawing of her wearing the red shirt and smiling of what they thought she looked like when she was alive. And the thing that struck me was when I went to visit her grave, um, like it was in June of 2022, and then I was about to edit and post the video of me at her grave, but when I looked up Princess Doe, I saw that she'd been identified literally a month after visiting her grave. That's when she'd been identified. And I finally saw what she actually looked like, not just the drawings of what they thought she looked like when she was alive. And it struck even more personally because she looked a lot like one of my friends I used to talk to on MySpace back when I was a kid.
Hmm.
And yeah, when I posted that video, I said that a month after I visited her grave, she was identified, and one person left a really nice comment. They said, "I think it was your big heart that helped her get identified," and yeah, that
That's
stuck with
nice.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, I have that same type of thing. Where I grew up, I think in 1999, there was this girl found. She was like 6 years old. She was found in the river, like right by my house,
Oh my
and
gosh.
that one stuck with me like forever. Every time we'd pass by the river, my grandma would always bring it up, and like it always like haunted me like really hard. They knew who she was too, and I don't think they ever found who did it to her. So like I kind of have the same thing with like that one case that like sticks with you, kind of, that like spurs on a huge interest for sure. You go to a lot of more not widely publicized victims' graves.
Oh yeah.
Is there anything specific, like, obviously, you want to respect the dead no matter who they are, but is there anyone in any specific way that you look for different sites to visit?
Um, it's really just whatever manages to catch my attention. Like, every single grave I visited, like, and I made a whole collage of every grave I visited from 2017 and 2023. But every single grave I visited, something about that person reminded me of myself. I mean, I could say that for all of them, or something about that person caught my attention, or they reminded me of someone I knew. Basically, that's my best way of explaining it.
Okay.
But yeah, like
Do you
yeah.
think that what happened to your parents has anything to do with like the fascination with true crime, like I don't know, ability to understand stuff like that?
Oh no.
No? Okay. Just wondering.
Yeah.
And let's see. So you play a lot of games. I was just curious what your
Yeah.
favorite games are. What are your like top 3?
Definitely Kenshi, definitely Sims 2, and SimCity 4 and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Yeah, yeah, that's more than 3, but those were the ones that came to my mind right away.
That works. I tried Kenshi. You must be a lot smarter than me because I just could not figure out Kenshi. It's I don't know, it's just something about it doesn't click with my brain, but I like watching it.
Yeah, the thing with Kenshi, you like everything in that game can kill you. So how the only reason why I was able to survive Kenshi is because I went into Forgotten Construction set and hacked my character's stats to 255 because I got tired of dying over and over
Yeah,
again. So
yeah,
yeah, that's
getting
why
getting
I was able
enslaved
to.
and shit.
Yeah, I mean, like, I wouldn't even get enslaved. I mean, it was the monsters that would come kill me. I mean, because the people were easy to run away from, but then the monsters would come kill you, but then you can't get any food at all. So, like, you would die of starvation or something like that. And, like, it got annoying after a while. And I was like,
It's a
let me
hard
just,
fucking game.
yeah, it is really.
What would you say is your favorite horror movie? I have a guess. I want to guess that it's Scream, but I'm not sure.
Oh,
Tell
yeah,
me if I'm
yeah.
wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it changes really. Sometimes I like Nightmare on Elm Street more. Sometimes I like
Hmm.
Scream more. Sometimes I like Friday the 13th more. I actually started liking Friday the 13th more. I mean, if you saw my one post on my fan page with me and unmasked Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th Part
Hmm.
2, yeah, yeah, started liking Jason Voorhees more, honestly, than Freddy Krueger.
I'm a big Devil's Rejects fan. Devil's Rejects
I
and
love that.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre are two of my absolute favorites in the world.
Did you see House of a Thousand Corpses?
Of course, yeah, of
Oh,
course.
yeah.
Yeah, they're such good movies. Like I love Rob Zombie movies. I'm a sucker for Rob Zombie movies. They're always
Yeah.
extra brutal. So what do you obviously you're interested in victims, but are you also interested in like actual serial killers or anything like that, the actual like perpetrators of crimes?
Not very often, really. I mean, I try to focus on the victims more often because, like, with the serial killers, you see people like Richard Ramirez, for example, was getting like tons of love mail from girls who liked him. I mean, well, there are some exceptions to what I said about that. Like, I do focus on some serial killers, like or some murderers, but like I try to focus more on the victims. Like, as much as I hate to admit this, one crazy guy who I've been watching a lot of videos about and thinking about a lot was Elliot Rodger.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of have a thing for Elliot Rodger. The reason,
The
the
Supreme Gentleman.
yeah, I mean the reason why is because first of all, if you look at a picture of Elliot Rodger, well, first of all, like I really love Asian men. That's one thing. And well, I love all men, honestly. But another thing is he has the black hair exactly like my biological uncle, and that reminds me of my biological uncle. Plus, he's like socially awkward and he was like lonely and always talking about how lonely he was. And what I noticed is that it seems like that's extremely, it may seem like that's extremely common. Like they say, oh, everyone gets lonely, but that's actually pretty rare, honestly, really, because like you go on these gay apps, these guys are just hooking up with different guys left and right. Obviously, they're not lonely because they never stick around at all. They like going to bars, nightclubs, and partying and stuff like that. And I don't want to get into that. I just want to find one creepy reclusive guy. I mean, reclusive, but he likes going for a drive every now and then to a
Sure.
faraway place because, like, I remember when I said that I was a recluse, and people would say, "Oh, but you like going on road trips so much." But if you look at the places I go on road trips to, those aren't really touristy areas. Yeah, like cemeteries here where a tornado hit here, like the Hackleburg tornado. You don't see any tourists in Hackleburg, Alabama. When I was there doing my YouTube video, like
The
people were
church
like,
one?
"Huh?
Was that where the church was? Or am
You
I
mean the
crazy?
you mean was it the one church that I tried summoning the tornado to hit?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was actually in Ohio, and, like,
Okay.
a tornado hasn't struck that place yet. Oh, yeah, don't even get me started on that place.
Oh, I
That
know.
was
I've seen your videos. I know.
Yeah, I mean, those I just wanted to do a video about the statue because I thought it was cool, and that was actually really sad, honestly, because, I actually really love Ohio, and I that was, like, the first place I ever did a tornado summoning ritual because, obviously, I'm not gonna do one in the town I'm living in, but, but, Ohio is, like, one of the states I'm spiritually connected to. I mean, for very strange reasons because of my autism and the way my mind works, but it's a state that I'm spiritually connected to, and just thinking that I summoned a tornado there because, like, there's some really bad people there, but, yeah, but, we don't have to talk about that, though.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah.
Um, what would you say, just going back to the magic stuff, what would you say has been like the most profound moment of you like practicing witchcraft or sigils, signs, stuff like that?
Most profound.
Yeah,
What do
like
you mean by that?
which one like most which one like you were like holy shit this works basically.
I would definitely say the adventure runestones.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Was that what we talked about earlier?
yeah, when you draw a face on one side of the stone and draw it on the other, definitely
Oh,
those.
okay. Okay, gotcha. And what do you think we'll start winding down now. What do you think's been the biggest challenge of your life?
Ooh, I guess the biggest challenge is finding a nice person to talk to because I mean, I talk to so many people online and they all slip away very easily. That's why I was looking for a crazy obsessive person, and spoiler alert, I haven't even came close to finding that yet. Been finding the opposite of that. They all slip away very easily, and it's always very sad. And the weird thing is, I posted a video about this on Instagram, but like people when people see my post online saying that I'm trying to cast magic spells to summon a crazy obsessive person, like they tell me, "Oh, you don't want a crazy obsessive person. You're not going to enjoy that at all. That's a bad idea." And for like from a normal person standards, yeah, that would be a bad idea, but the thing that I don't know why so many people have difficulty noticing this, but I'm far from normal. I mean, I'm crazy myself, honestly, so it only makes sense for me to be with another crazy man. And yeah, it's weird.
That makes sense. No, it makes total sense. Um,
Yeah.
and last question here. What is one thing that you think fans of yours don't know that you want to tell everybody? Something special, something you haven't talked about on your channel before that might surprise people.
I can't really think of that. I can't really think of anything because usually I'm like very open about everything I talk about in my videos.
Tell me any secret you have, Joe. I want to know one secret that Joe Winko has.
Um,
Can be anything.
well, I mean, I would say that when people I talk to online piss me off really bad, I write them into my death curse book, but I wouldn't necessarily call that a secret. I try not to post about that too much because I don't want to like scare people away, but I honestly feel like the right person, if they see that, they would I honestly feel like if the right person sees that, they would understand why I'm doing that. They would just think, "Oh, that guy's not crazy. He just been running into a lot of." Well, I mean, I am crazy, but they would say, "Oh, that guy isn't like evil or anything. He's just had some extremely bad luck when it comes to meeting people." And I'm pretty sure there's at least one person who would think. Well, actually, most people do think that. Like my friends and followers definitely do. Like, they actually get a hype out of it when I write someone in my death curse book because they said that it
Hmm.
reminds them of the burn book from Mean Girls.
Yeah,
God.
it always comes back to Mean Girls, doesn't it? All right, Joe. Well, I appreciate it, man. It was a pleasure talking to you. I've been watching you for a long time, and I had a lot
Thank
of fun
you.
talking to you, man. We will be signing off. Any last words, Joe?
Um, no, nothing that I can think of. Just hope that all my spells work.
Hell yeah. All right. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
All right, no problem.